Smacking your child has become a bit of a taboo. Is it necessary discipline or should it be illegal? Well, there's now a push to make smacking a criminal offence in Australia, and someone who believes it absolutely should be illegal is Dr. Justin Coulson, a parenting expert and star of Nine program Parental Guidance. I spoke with him late today. Justin, thank you for joining us. Parents have been smacking their kids for really centuries. Why does that have to change?
Well, there's not a shred of credible evidence to support its use. It's an ineffective way of disciplining. There are far better disciplinary strategies that are out there, but the message that it conveys is what I'm most concerned about. Essentially, it says, I love you, but I'm going to hurt you. We hear that in a range of other contexts where that's inappropriate, domestic and family violence being the most obvious and provocative one. We can do better, our children deserve better, and smacking is linked to a host of negative outcomes in children.
Well, most of us were smacked as kids. I certainly was, and every time I was smacked, I deserved it. I turned out okay.
I hear that a lot. I was smacked as a child and I turned out okay. A couple of things on this. First off, we don't really know how we would have turned out if we weren't smacked. We were. The research evidence shows frequent smacking doubles, if not more, doubles the risk of anxiety and depression in adulthood. It's associated with impacts on social relationships, ruptures the relationship between parent and child. There's no justification for violence. I can't say this any more emphatically, and I'm astounded, Chris, I'm just astounded at how hard Australians will fight for their right to hit a child. If I hit my wife because she quote-unquote deserved it, and let's face it, we all have a different threshold for what deservingness is when it comes to violence. If I hit my wife, I will be taken to court and charged because of family and domestic violence. If I hit you in the shops or down at the park or at the beach because you do something that I find offensive, you can and probably will take me to court and have me charged with assault. If I kick my dog because it's barking too much, I'll be charged with animal cruelty. And yet here I am, let's say I've got a toddler, 2 years old. I'm more than double my toddler's height. I'm probably 6 to 10 times my toddler's weight. And it's perfectly legal for me to hit my child because they quote-unquote deserved it. Nobody deserves to be hit. What an outrage, what an absolute...
But Justin, hang on a second.
I fundamentally reject it.
We're not talking about child abuse. So, my wife and I have talked about this.
No, we're not. We're talking about hitting.
We've got a young son. He's a bit young for this, but we've talked about circumstances in which he might put his hand in a boiling pot of water or put a knife into a toaster. Are you really saying that a smack on the back of the hand is off limits, should be made illegal?
I don't understand why we have this fascination with hitting when our children are in danger. If your child's running towards the road, you don't hit them, you pick them up and move them away from the road. Kids see what we do, they follow it. If we keep hitting our kids, they're going to keep on saying, I was hit as a child and I turned out fine, and they're going to keep hitting their kids. But we have better solutions. And the research shows that those better solutions aren't just better in the moment, they're better for the rest of our children's lives. They do better at school. They do better in their relationships. They do better when it comes to mental health, the absence of mental illness. Across the board, children who are not hit do better. They're less likely to end up in jail. They're less likely to do alcohol and other drugs. They're more likely to behave pro-socially. There just isn't the evidence to support it. And there's warehouses full of evidence for other forms of parental discipline where we teach and guide and instruct our children to live in better ways.
So you're seriously saying a parent who gives a light slap on the back of a hand to a child who's about to do something dangerous, that parent should be investigated by the police because smacking should be made illegal?
We're not suggesting here that we should remove children from their parents or remove parents from their children. We're not suggesting that parents should be put into jail because they've given their child a slap. What we're suggesting is that when we as a society say we don't accept this behaviour anymore, then we can offer support, we can offer intervention, we can step in and say, hey, we can help you to do things better because there are better ways.
You have 6 daughters yourself. Have you ever smacked any of those?
I'm sorry to say that I have. In fact, after one smacking episode, I quit my career as a former radio announcer for one of Australia's biggest radio stations. I went back to school and I studied psychology for 8.5 years so that I could learn how to be a better dad, because I saw what it was doing to me, to my wife, and to my family. That one decision has fundamentally changed my life course and brought my family together. We don't hit, We don't need to. There are far better things to do, and it makes families stronger. It makes our kids stronger. It makes our society stronger when we don't use violence.
One of the real concerns here, though, I think, as a society, is are we heading down the path of just raising kids, wrapping them in cotton wool?
This is not namby-pamby parenting. This is not cotton wooling and mollycoddling. We're raising an incredible generation who are doing amazing things. Are there some bad eggs? Yeah, there are. But you know what? There's a whole lot of boomers and a whole lot of Gen Xers and a whole lot of Gen Ys and even a handful of millennials that are kind of getting a whole lot wrong as well. Over time, though, are we improving as a whole? I think the answer has to be yes, and this is one more step in that direction.
If smacking's out of the question and it is made illegal, what do you say to parents to stop bad and dangerous behaviour or prevent bad and dangerous behaviour?
What we're actually saying here is you don't have to hit your kids to get really great results. It's on us to provide an environment where the kids are going to do well. But yeah, I mean, if they're drowning their sister in the pool, or if they're running out in the road with their scooter and doing silly things, then you go and you pick them up and you move them. You switch the toaster off and you put it away. You remove the knives. You do the things that you need to do to provide a safe environment. You just do it without violence.
Dr. Justin Coulson, it is certainly a controversial topic. We really appreciate your time.
Good on you. Thanks, Chris.